Okay, Miss Jody. Okay, the bell is ringing. For whom the bell tolls for thee. This is the mindfulness bell. It's been with me since the year 2000 when I studied with Thich Nhat Hanh. And every meeting, he would ring the bell. And it was a beautiful gift to go within and to be here now. Because all we ever really have is the present moment. And when we learn how to stop and go within and open, well, then we have established ourselves in a conscious flow. And we can ask the question, who am I? I'm teaching a class starting this Wednesday on the non-dual universe. And James Twyman says there's two kinds of people. Those who think there are two and those who don't. And when you're into a non-dual consciousness, well, then you let go of other, and it all becomes the one life. There is but one life, we say in our teaching, and that life is God's life. And that life is perfect. And that life is my life now. It shifts you out of being the wave on the ocean, using a metaphor, to know that we are all the ocean of life, the ocean of love, experiencing oneness. And that subtle shift takes us out of the ego that wants to judge and point the finger at other, because we realize there is no other. We sing a little song at the end of our service, I am you, you are me, we are one. And in that unity, we will live in harmony. And peace has come right now because we are one. And so we are a non-dual teaching. And every moment is an opportunity to stop and go within and experience that oneness. I'm a gardener. And when I tend the garden, every flower smiles at me. Emerson says the earth laughs and flowers. And I have a sign in my garden that says we are all flowers of many colors in the earth garden, because human truth is one, with a big T. And so we move into that truth that knows no other, that oneness, and we smile. Because as the calligraphy over my head by Thich Nhat Hanh himself, he says, then I have arrived, I am home. And we come here to experience that oneness. This month, the theme is living in and as the mystery. We live in the mystery of life, and we are the mystery, unfolding one moment at a time. And once we let go of the little dictator that wants to dictate what we should be and do and know, and once the dictator falls away, there's this inner guidance system that's guided by a child of wonder and awe. Jesus says, be like a child if you would enter this kingdom. And so we find that inner child of awe and wonder still there, smiling, ready to have an experience today. And so we smile. We observe any resistance that might be there, and we smile at that resistance because it's not real. And it lets go when we stop paying attention to it. And then we sit up a little straighter, we align our spine. We take a deep integrating breath and we give a sigh for the divine. And you can open your eyes. Then look around you and see that smiling face. That's the one life. I'm doing, my title of my talk is What's in the Way is the Way. And it is so true. Whatever is in your way, if you see that there's something on the thing, you need to open it. If there's and Bob and Kelly wrote a song about the sun. So I'd like them to come up and share that with you. And then it'll launch me into my exploration of what's in the way is the way. This is the moment we have to be together, Cole. Oh, you got the drums. Okay, we're done the full swing here.
What's in the way is the way. What's in the way is the way. You and me, we hold the key to set ourselves free. When I see what it's showing me, I can't just be. Am I lost? I don't know. I take a breath and let it go. Every problem just may be another opportunity. Hope is on the horizon. What's in the way is the way. What's in the way is the way. Every breath is a brand new day to let it all fall away. Open up your heart, it knows the way. Life is hard, we need peace. Think about a sweet release. There is beauty all around. Wake up and turn around. Hope is on the horizon. What's in the way is the way. What's in the way is the way. You and me, we hold the key to set ourselves free. When we see differently, we can just be. Open up your heart, it knows the way.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, the heart knows the way. That's so wonderful. You know, it's Mother's Day today, and I've been thinking how many experiences of mother there are. Yeah, we have a physical mother, that's one. But there's also this universal mother, the mother within all of us. In 1999, I went to the Parliament of the World Religions in Cape Town, South Africa. And when I arrived there, this woman stood up, and she was the first speaker in front of a very large audience. And she said, I lost all my children this year to AIDS. And I want you to know that AIDS is not a gay disease in South Africa. And then she said, and I also want you to know that we are all the mother, and these are all our children. And there were homeless children everywhere. And that whole time at the Parliament of the World Religions, I just kept seeing these little lost children that were in piles by the side of the street. And they said, don't give them any money because they'll buy drugs. They'd say, Mister, you feed me. Mister, I'm hungry. And I was buying them candy bars and lollipops and ice cream cones. And it changed my life to realize that they're all our children. And that applies to animals. You know, a stray cat comes to the door. Am I going to kick it and say, get away? Or I'm going to say, come on in and let me give you something to eat. A little baby robin was on the front porch and she wanted some food. And so I went out and put some little suet on the thing and she was pecking at the suet. It's the way you see things in life. And I was thinking, you know, as in my life, I don't have any children, but I have the four-legged children. And I was doing a church party at the house. I live in Five Points, and the congregation was there. And all of a sudden, this cat from across the street came over, and my partner started to scoot the cat away. Get out of here! Get out of here! Well, the cat wasn't going to leave, and the cat moved in. Her name was Smudge. She had a smudge on her nose, and she became the queen of the house. So Smudge was ruling the roost, and we had no dogs at that time. And my beloved Jody and I was supposed to go to Jamaica to do one of my Dance with the Beloved retreats, and they didn't have enough people, so it was canceled. And I already had someone here to speak. So my friend Tom Flack, he lives in the mountains. He says, "Why don't you come over with Jody and we'll have some fun?" I had the weekend off. So Jody and I drove over there, and we get to his cabin in the mountains, and there's an old dog sitting on the front porch, and his name was Speck. He was a homeless dog. Oh, and he took me everywhere, and I fell in love with Speck. I wanted to bring Speck home with me, and Tom said, "You can't have Speck. He's the dog of the holler. He's everybody's dog." And then Jody, I remember she stood, "If he's everybody's dog, he's my dog too." And so, well, we tried our best. And that Sunday morning, I wasn't doing church. So we were driving down in some little place in Georgia. And he said, "Let's go to the pound." And I said, "I don't want to go to the pound. It depresses me to see all the animals there." And he says, "Oh, get over it." So we go to the pound. It's locked. He pounds on the door, and they're cleaning the pound. And so I went in thinking, oh, I'm going to see all these animals and feel guilty. All the cats came to the cages and wanted to be loved. And then I hear Tom, or maybe it was Jody, saying, "Oh my God, it's baby Speck." There was a small little version of Papa Speck sitting with all these other dogs with poop all around. And I think Jody picked this little dog up, and she said, "You just asked for Speck, if you could just find a dog like Speck, and here it is. It's your demonstration." And she threw the dog in my arms. And I said, "I can't take this dog." I said, "This is Sunday. The pound is closed," and yada, yada. And the lady said, "If you got $40, you can have her." Well, I opened my wallet, and there were 320s. And so she had been spayed. She was 12 weeks old. And I brought baby Speck home to the house. You talk about a mother experience. And so I came home, and my partner said, "We agreed, no pets. No puppies." And he wouldn't talk to me. He stormed off. And there's was little baby Speck, 12 weeks old. And so, okay, what am I going to do? What would a mother do? And the old cat, Smudge, sat down, and baby Speck started crawling across the floor. And she wanted to be mothered. And Smudge just smacked her and just smacked her and just smacked her. But baby Speck wasn't going to do anything. So ultimately, Smudge did this. She put one claw on one cheek, the other claw on the other cheek, and she started chewing on her ear. They fell in love. It was a mother-daughter relationship. She would sleep with her. And when baby Speck made her transition 12 years later, Smudge the cat never left her bed. In fact, she made her transition. So this love thing is much bigger than we portray it to be. We are all the mother, and they are all our children. And remember that when you see something that needs a little bit of love. We got the pug through Jody again, our fourth child, and we had Bert the dog, and I had to go to Maine, and I needed someone to stay at the house, and Al Underbrink said he would stay at the house. I said, that means you're going to have to sleep with the pug because he has separation anxiety. And so Al slept with the pug, and he said, "Boy, he hogs the bed." I said, "I know, he needs to be close, but they're all our children, and we're all the mother, and we're here taking care of each other." And so what's in the way is truly such a powerful realization that life will give you everything you need in advance of your asking. Last night on Turner Classic Movies, they had, Mahatma Gandhi. They had Gandhi, Richard Attenborough's movie, 1982. It won 8 Academy Awards: Best Movie, Best Actor, Best Screenplay. And I had seen it in 1982, and it's the story of Mahatma Gandhi and how he was in Cape Town, South Africa at the turn of the century in the 1910s. And the only ones that were accepted were white Christian people. He said nothing, Muslims, Hindus didn't count. And so everybody had to have either fingerprints or little things. And Mahatma Gandhi said, "This isn't acceptable." And he said, "I want you all to throw your little registration things in the thing." Oh, and they arrested him. They threw him in jail because he said, "We cannot think that we're other. We have equal rights." So after 5 years in prison, they took him back to India. Well, they had the same thing. The British, only the white people were accepted. The Indians weren't accepted. So he became a hero in India, and he started speaking equality and unity consciousness, and we can't have others. Everybody's welcome. And I'm thinking, what's in the way is the way. Boy, it was for Mahatma Gandhi. He became so famous that he was assassinated. And I'm thinking, this is too much of a, but he spoke his truth. And of course, India is no longer segregated. People now have equal rights. But it took someone who had the courage to say, this isn't acceptable anymore. Sometimes the truth gives you a smack that you don't want. But, Science of Mind magazine, that's the whole theme this month. The stuff that bothers you is the doorway for your awakening. And Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, he talks about the very problem that we have in life is ourselves. So could we meet those things, Cole, that are in there that need to come out, that need some clarity? And here's what he says. You and I are our worst enemies. Oh, holy cow. That part of us that gets caught up in judgment. Take it or leave it, like it or not. It's that simple truth. But this should not come to you as tidings of great joy. It should come as a glad news, because it is we who oftentimes are our worst enemies. So why couldn't we become our own best friends? And he says, in these busy hours of the day and the long hours of the night, we all live alone in our own thoughts. Sometimes our thoughts come from this little nattering nabob of negativity, and they can drive us crazy. And then you realize, as the Buddha did, you are the awareness of the thought patterns. You are not your thoughts. So take a deep breath, exhale, and let go of that stinking thinking. And then you can find that awareness that is just hovering, Derek, just waiting for you to go into the awareness that will set you free. It's what he's pointing toward. I cannot help but believe that we must unite ourselves with the spirit within, with the capital S, with the peace within. A spirit that you and I did not create, but we merely discovered that it was there all the time. This is about waking up to our true nature. What we are spiritual beings. We're having a human experience. Could we let that spiritual, and then when you hear Jesus, be like a child if you would enter this kingdom. Not a nattering nabob of negativity. No, that child is innocent and filled with wonder and awe. So go back home to that presence. Let us see if we cannot learn to renounce our fears and our doubts. And that's why it says our doubts are our devotion. When you become aware of them, and that awareness will set you free, let's become aware of our doubts, all this inward shaking and quaking and apprehension. Then we let God give us back to ourselves as we really are. We open to this divine presence. It's waiting for your time. Well, isn't that funny that we get to do this for ourselves? Yeah, so, and then he gives a beautiful meditation. I won't go into that, about how we can do that, maybe at the end of the sermon. So I've been thinking all these years that I've been doing ministry for 37 years, and I find myself teaching classes about facing what's going on, meeting the problem. Where's the block to our awakening, to our true transcendent unity consciousness? And every January, I saw this lady, Pema Chodron. She wrote a book called Welcoming the Unwelcome. There's a lot of unwelcome stuff right now on the planet. And she says, instead of running away from it, could you welcome it? A whole book. And I've taught this class many times. Just give you a taste. Feel the transmission of Pema Chodron. She says this, Mishak Labradon, the great Tibetan practitioner who lived in the 11th and 12th centuries, had a list of radical suggestions for getting unstuck from our ego's clinging. The first of these was reveal your hidden faults, and instead of concealing your flaws and being defensive when they're exposed, she counseled, be open to them. Well, here you are, my inner faults, my judgment, my critic. Be present with that person that is giving you the problem. I call them the nattering nabobs of negativity. And when they show up, oh, there you are again. Well, let's sit down at the table and we'll have a conversation. So welcome the unwelcome ones. Then she says, having the attitude that you want to grow from everything that comes to you makes it possible to use the label teacher instead of insensitive jerk. So that part of you is your teacher. It's not an insensitive jerk or the little brat. She has a sense of humor. And if your goal is an inner transformation, and that's what this whole thing is about, then why not see everything that helps you grow, however unpleasant it may seem at first, ultimately is your teacher? Why not see your enemies as your spiritual friends? Boy, is that not turning the table on it all? When we have that little part of us that wants to be the inner critic, there you are again, my little inner critic. Could I listen to you? She goes on to say, this isn't so easy to do. It's more like you turn the other cheek. in that movie, Gandhi, he was telling the people when he was trying to stand up to this thing, and he said to the Christians, he says, well, don't you say in Christianity to turn the other cheek? And they say, well, if you turn it, you'll just get hit on the other cheek. And he says, but then there's equanimity. I turn it here, you hit me, I turn it there, you. And so he was playing on, yeah, let's meet it. If there's going to be this violence, there's going to be this judgment, I'll turn the other cheek. So Gandhi was using their own language. We have to work with where we are and allow a gradual transformation to happen. Did you notice it's a gradual transformation, Cole? It's not overnight. It's a gradual transformation. That Pema goes on to say, and how you work with things really can transform what seems to be. Working with the inner has the ability to transform the outer. When I get my act together, isn't it surprising then that my world begins to change? So it's all an inside job. It's not them that have to change, Al Lenderbrink. Once we get it all together. And I remember Al was reluctant to have kids, and he married Jody and got 3 in the bargain, and now he's got 5 almost grandchildren on the side. But what becomes increasingly clear is that your inner work has a profound effect on how you perceive the outer world. That is why we should pay attention to how we label things. And I have this wonderful phrase that is one of my mantras that says, this too is good, and this too is for God, and I demand to see the blessing. Whatever it is that arises, could I meet it with a sense of equanimity, even if it's an uncomfortable something? And we all have plenty of that. So that's Pema Chodron saying, whatever arises, welcome it. And then I taught this class just about 6 months ago. It was one of my all-time favorites from Matt Kahn. And he has a website. He texts me all the time and emails me. Whatever arises, love that. Same idea. Whatever arises, love that. And here's how he puts it. Boy, is he juicy. He said, whatever arises, love that. And by loving what arises, you unearth the deepest understanding of the universe in the most heart-centered way. We move from our head that wants to judge. Are you okay, David? Oh, he's just shaking his head. He must have a head thing. You move from your head into your heart, and your heart can meet what is. So that's his whole thing. He said, best of all, when love can be invited to work through you and respond on your behalf, you don't even need to know why things have occurred. It happened. All that is required is the willingness to open your heart. With every step forward into a new spiritual paradigm, you are able to celebrate the arrival of a heart-centered consciousness while holding a sacred space for the ascension of Earth and the awakening of humanity. And I wrote amen after that. That's what happened to Mahatma Gandhi. He saw that his words were being heard all over the world because he was preaching oneness, unity consciousness, and non-violent resistance to ignorance. It was all non-violent. And of course, all the people with the guns, the white people, started shooting all the Indians that were protesting in silence. And I know, it happened. That's why the movie was a little hard to watch, Sylvia. The importance of cultivating unconditional love is an essential stage in the completion of our journey. Cultivating unconditional love and the deepest acceptance is essential. Whether manifesting a soulmate, or healing your body, or seeking liberation from suffering, or integrating past realizations into a fully embodied state of awareness, each spiritual milestone swiftly finds its way to you once love has been invited into your life. And you say, bring it on, Al. And you begin to see where the resistance is, where the block is, and then what's in the way ultimately becomes the way. Can I accept you as a teacher? He goes on to say, and this is the dawning of your highest potential. It is the emergence of your soul into the beauty of human form. It is the long-awaited fulfillment of your own divine destiny. Could we acknowledge that we are destined to become an awakened being filled with divine love, knowing that they're all our children and that we're all the mother on this Mother's Day? And for the spiritual growth of all who inhabit our magnificent planet, it is the love revelation that begins with you. I was so impressed when the King of England spoke before the House of Representatives, and he talked about at the very end a reverence for our planet, how sacred our planet is, and could we all agree to make our planet a priority? And he got a standing ovation. Could we come together in that one realization? Many blessings for your journey ahead, he said. This is only the beginning. And whatever arises, love that. So there's little Matt Kahn with his lovely wife and their ministry. just meeting the suffering on the planet, and then finding the good, the grace in whatever arises. And we all have some stuff. Anybody got some stuff out there? Oh yeah, a few of you. After I had the heart attack, had planned this spiritual retreat to go to Colorado, and I asked the doctor if I could still go, and he said, as long as you bring your nitroglycerin in case you feel a heart attack coming on. So I took my nitroglycerin to Colorado, and I was to study with this young man named Jeff Foster. And he's also had an awful lot of problems within his life. And he had this little book called The Deepest Acceptance. You know, the Serenity Prayer, accept the things I cannot change. I had the Widowmaker. I was 69 years old. And when I came out of the operation, the nurse said, you're not supposed to be here. I said, what do you mean? She said, you had the Widowmaker and only 2% survived. I said, oh, well, thank you. Thank you for that. And then I said to the doctor, you saved my life, didn't you? And he said, yeah, I did. And then he said, excuse my French, don't fuck it up. And I said, well, thank you, doctor. I'll try not to. But I was a little shocked. I mean, I just had a little pain in my heart. And I called Gigi, and she said, I think you're having a heart attack. We were supposed to go on vacation. And I said, let's just stop at the emergency room in case. And I went in, and they said, fill out these forms. And I'm filling out the forms, and I pass out. Next thing you know, I'm on a gurney, and they're wheeling me down and tearing my clothes off. And I can remember thinking, I can't remember the last time somebody tore my clothes off. And then they threw a towel on my junk, and I was covered. And I thought, holy cow. But I survived it. So then I'm in Colorado, and I meet Jeff Foster. And the deepest acceptance of what is. And here's a little taste of him. He said, all human suffering is a dualistic split in present experience, and the separation is of the me from life itself. When you see it's all about you and you're not into the experience, and so it's about accepting those things that happen. He said, if we can find out where there's violence, suffering, and separation from life within each other, then we can begin in our own experience. And if we can clearly see and understand the suffering that we create for ourselves, then we will also be able to see how we create suffering for others and for the ones we love, for our cities, our countries, our continents, and our planet. He's getting us into that oneness consciousness. And we have to look at those paths where we're blocked, where we're not being in the flow of love. Isn't that nice, Derek? Where am I not being who I am? If I'm not suffering a way out of the madness of the human mind, but it's a way in. So to go into those places, what's in the way is the way. I'm not actually offering a solution to any suffering, but another way of looking at the suffering, a radical new way of relating to it. So whenever it comes up, you meet it. We have no hope of ending suffering, our personal suffering or global suffering, until we understand what suffering really is at the most fundamental level. And I have one of my reliable truths, and take this one if you take anything today. All suffering is simply a resistance to what is. If I'm resisting it, I'm going to suffer. So he's saying this question. Relating to this suffering, we have no hope of ending suffering, personal or global, until we understand what suffering really is. And at the most fundamental level, and when we truly understand the suffering, we may discover our true freedom is found not through escaping the present experience, but by diving fearlessly into its hidden depths. And in there, perhaps, we will discover there is peace, love, and a deep acceptance that we were always seeking out there. And then he gave us this acronym that he wrote on the board. I remember it so clearly. It was RAIN. And he says, if you take nothing, take RAIN with you. RAIN is to recognize what's happening within you. And then A, accept it. Then I is inquire, and the N is in a nurturing way. So what is this showing me? The resistance, the judgment, the narrative. And he says, whatever arises, you do that. And skipping to the end of the book, to give a taste how it'll happen. He talks about Nisargadatta. He says, wisdom says that I'm nothing, but love says that I'm everything. He's getting you into oneness consciousness. I'm everything. Begin with the two, and between the two, my life flows. So he says, what you are is the vast open space in which everything happens. And the recognition of that brings clarity and wisdom. We are this space of divine love. Jesus called it the kingdom of heaven that's within you and it's all around you. He said, seek it first. It's this consciousness of wholeness. And so he says, clarity and wisdom are not complete without their reflection, and that is love. Love comes from the recognition that as open space, as the ocean, what you are unconditionally and deeply accepts all the waves that appear on that ocean. So enlightenment comes when you move from the idea that I'm a separate wave and we're all separate waves on the ocean of love. You realize I am the ocean and you're the ocean, and that's that oneness. He's using a metaphor again. And love comes from this recognition that we are the ocean. Accept all waves that appear, all sights and sounds and smells and sensations that are appearing now. Everything then becomes the beloved, and the recognition of wisdom is truly incomplete without this recognition of love. So this too is good, this too is God, and I demand to see the blessing, whatever you might be experiencing. That is something that will assist you on this journey to know where to now here. And the end, he goes on to say, and in this deepest acceptance, mind and heart then become one. Nothing becomes everything. They were never two separate things. And then mental clarity and certainty give way to the deepest acceptance of this present moment. And guess what? Right there and then, the war ends. You move into this present moment. You're not resisting it. You're not judging it. You're accepting it. And you find this blessing becomes, oh, so sweet. I have a little pug, and he's old, and he has problems doing his business. And every time he gets into the poop position, he falls into the poop. He collapses. And my partner said, maybe it's time to put him down, and asked Jody if it's time. I said, no, we just have to learn to accept the deepest acceptance that he's challenged right now. And so I bend over and I hold him in the position, and he manages to do his business. And then I move him to the next position. And we're in there to help each other. And sometimes it gets a little difficult to do what we need to do. Lastly, Mark Nebo, this man that survived cancer many times, Raul, and he's still here. And he says, now he lives in this endless practice that it never ends. Whatever age you are, however many classes you've taken, Miss Virginia, it's an endless practice and it never ends. And boy, does he speak to my soul. It's not like you get to the finish line and you're done, Cole. No, it's to the very, very end. You're going to be doing this practice. Here's how he puts it. I've known for a long time that we slowly become what we seek. Just as we discover the ounce of wisdom we can offer the world. After a lifetime of seeking, we become a beautiful part of the path by which others seek. Lean into the unknown long enough, and we become a small part of the great mystery. And that's the theme for this month, living in and as the mystery. So if we can keep leaning in, Al Underbrink, to the unfoldment of this jubilant and beholden soul, you'll begin to awaken. There's a pony in here somewhere, Barbara Rowlands, and you've been leaning into that great mystery ever since I've known you. The gift of life is this journey. No destination, Miss Virginia. The gift of life is this journey, which each soul must take. And our job is not to expose the mystery, but to participate in it. Oh, isn't it a glorious mystery? You know, it's not like it's concrete, Anastasia. You've been living in the mystery ever since I've known you, and it's still so juicy. At first, this is troubling, but it is settled as a humble blessing. Oh, a humble blessing. I know now that return and loss are gates that swing open to the mystery. Sometimes it's very fast, and we don't know what happened. Sometimes it's very slow, and we don't think anything happening, but it's always good. The gates are closing, they're opening. Change is part of the dance. And he says, each of us is sent our way, harshly or gently, to look for the gifts, only to find that we've carried them within us the whole time. Only to find that the weather of the journey has exposed us to what really matters, and our job is not to expose the mystery, but to live in it and participate in the great mystery. So that's the journey, to live in this mystery, to know that it's all here for us, and what next? Jody, you think we should do a little collection?
Absolutely.
Bob, you have a little music you can play?
Yeah, well, sure.
And so we celebrate our abundance by giving to the source of our good, knowing that you can't outgive God. And so as you give from your heart, know that you are compensated tenfold. Give yourself to love. Oh, thank you, Bob. Jody will ring the bell now. Give yourself to love. If love is what you're after, open up your hearts to the tears and laughter as you give yourself to love. And so we discover that love is waiting for us. It never went anywhere. And we open to the sacred moment, right where we started this service. It's like going home to that which is always waiting for us. But it does require our intention. And so as we step out of the battlefield of the mind, and we move into that expansive place of the heart of the one, we are giving truly ourselves to this love, a love that knows no other. And then we realize that we are all the mother on this Mother's Day, and they are all our children. And we take it out into the world as we walk through the garden. And we see the chipmunks running and the birds singing, and the flowers blooming. It's all part of this beautiful garden. We are all flowers of many colors in this garden of life, because human truth is one. And so the truth will set you free. There is but one life. That life is the life of God, the life of the Tao, the life of Allah. La ilaha illallah. There is nothing but Allah, this beloved presence, whatever you want to call it. And it is what we are. And so as we allow ourselves to step out of the me, as they say in quantum mechanics, and move into the we, then ultimately we arrive at the all. It is all the one life expressing. And this is non-duality. This is unity consciousness. And we have arrived in that sacred space that has been waiting for us for eternity. So we breathe in and we breathe out. One more deep breath, breathing it in, light and love and peace and joy, and exhaling all the stuff that you need to release. Oh, one more time. Breathing in fun and curiosity and wonder, and letting go of all those constipated thoughts that going nowhere. Oh, yes. And then open your eyes. Oh, there's a light going on. Let's make a little circle and sing a song about oneness. The circle is the oldest symbol for God, that which has no beginning and has no end. We are one. I am you, you are me. We are one. And in this unity, we
We are one. We are one. I am you, you are me. We are one. And in this unity, we will live in harmony, and peace has come. Cause we are one. One life, beautifully expressing. Yee-haw! Give somebody a Oh, man.